Tigerlily family lawsuit details owed grandfather's trust more than 340k. I mean, people have always wondered, when it comes to Tigerlily, where does her money actually come from? Despite the fact that she has answered questions in the past, people have always still had more questions, because when it comes to Tigerlily, it's always been very hard for many of us to really, let's just say, believe the things that comes out of her mouth. Now, it does say here, provided to us by Sarcasm, that Tigerlily loves to flaunt her wealth. And yes, you're all right. She does love to flaunt her wealth, whether that be on IG showing off that she's driving in a very fancy car, or whether that be, has stated here that on the show she was able to, provide her husband with a 26k watch. So there are definitely things about her that, some people can find either very irritating or maybe even motivational, depending on how you want to look at it. But it also says here that Tigerlily has stated on social media that a large part of her wealth comes from investments made by her grandfather, Gary Moss, prior to his passing in February of 2019. Tigerlily hasn't, sorry, I've got to really emphasize that, hasn't mentioned on social media that she and her mother were ordered to pay her uncle more than 340k in 2022 after they took money from her grandfather's trust without permission. Yes, without permission. I'm pretty sure that means theft, right? That means forgery, right? So here's the thing. When it comes to Tigerlily, we know that she's somebody that has come out to explain that she is a handwriting expert, and we're going to get into that in a second. But it also does say here that Tigerlily's uncle, Taika Moss, was named the trustee of her grandfather's trust. Tigerlily and her mother contested Taka's role in court, alleging that Gary Moss's signatures on the trust amendments naming Taka trustee were forged. So they're saying that he's the one that forged the documents. Well, Tigerlily says that on her IG, when she was asked questions with her fans, that it was alleged forged signatures on her grandfather's trust documents that motivated her to become a handwriting expert. In her post, Tigerlily implies that her uncle didn't just forge her grandfather's signature, he also poisoned and killed him. My grandfather was poisoned and killed by a family member, Tigerlily wrote. That same family member forged trust documents to steal money from my grandmother, who had cancer and dementia. This is when I began my 4-year-long education to be a handwriting expert. Well, this is what Tigerlily says, okay? And this is what she is claiming, all right? Now, here's the thing though. Things, of course, always have to develop. And obviously, the more I continue to read, the more I was discovering more and more information regarding Tigerlily herself in particular. Now, with this one here, it does say that Tigerlily files for restraining order against her uncle. In June of 2022, Tigerlily filed an application to become the permanent guardian of her grandmother, who was legally incapacitated due to severe dementia. The grandmother was living with Tigerlily's mother in Texas at the time. Tigerlily's filing also included an application for a temporary restraining order against her uncle, Taika Moss, which would prevent him from speaking with his mother. According to the filing, Tiger spoke with his mother twice a week. The calls were mandated by a Florida court so Tiger could ascertain his mother's financial needs and disperse the appropriate funds from his father's trust. Tigerlily alleges in her filing that Tiger's phone conversations with his mother were not to assess his monetary need. She claims that they confuse her grandmother and cause her emotional harm. Very interesting. Now, of course, there is more to be said regarding Tigerlily's actual application. If you would like to read this application, then you can check it out on Sarcasm. But we are going to go ahead and move forward to when the uncle himself responds to Tigerlily's allegations, and this is where things do get certainly more interesting. Taika Moss filed an objection to the inventory appraisement and a list of claims roughly 3 months after Tigerlily's initial filings. Okay, as a part of her application, Tigerlily was required to list any and all claims owed to her grandmother's estate. She listed Taika for failure to distribute and for the benefit of the ward, such as amount of income and/or principal necessary or advisable to provide for the ward's support, health, medical care, and related emergency medical needs for her to live in the manner to which she became accustomed. Interesting, right? He also says here that Tucker argues in his initial objection that Tigerlily failed to mention the fact that she and her mother still owed the grandfather's trust more than $340K. The debt was the result of a civil lawsuit filed by Tigerlily and her mother in Florida in 2019. Things are definitely not looking good. The more obviously we read, the more we find out, and the more we're just like, what the hell is going on here? And this is the issue, isn't it? When it comes to Tigerlily, she only tells us what she wants to tell us and never tells us what is needed to be told. Like I said before, on her social media account, when it comes to her always having the Q&A, she always answers questions that fit her narrative and never the ones that don't. You know, somebody who is clearly very tactical and logical within her movements, but not smart enough to hide the paper trail that clearly Starcasm was able to, uncover. So shout out to them on that one. Now, also on top of that, it does say here that Tucker Moss objects to the inventory to the extent that a claim owed by Tigerlily to proposed ward is not listed. There exists a personal judgment against Tigerlily joint and severally for $340+K, which is owed to the trust for proposed ward's benefit. Tucker's file includes experts from the deposition of Tigerlily's mother in the previous Florida lawsuit. In a deposition, Tigerlily's mother admits transferring funds from the Gary Moss Trust into her and Tigerlily's bank account. Some of the funds were used to pay for attorneys in the Florida lawsuit. 20 days after his initial filing, Tucker filed an objection and response to the restoring order and Tiger's request to become her grandmother's guardian. Can you imagine? Honestly, none of this stuff is actually really surprising me. You know, obviously here it does say below are the absurds for Tiger's objection filed on September 29th of 2022. If you want to check these things and read them, they'll be provided for you guys on the Starcasm website as well. Okay, so just bear that in mind. All right, now of course here we go down here where there is the grandfather's emails, okay, which other things that are also added into support information that is being provided here today in this video. But again, these things here are things I don't have to necessarily read because I've pretty much given you guys the basis of exactly what we are talking about, and that is that Tigerlily and her mother are nothing but what? Nothing but thieves. Okay, even says he has evidence against Tigerlily's claims that her grandmother didn't sign the trust revisions. Tucker included multiple emails he received from Tigerlily's grandfather prior to his passing. Okay, it goes on by saying, go into legal next week to do the amendment to my trust and you're controlling disbursement of Marie's share. Gary Moss wrote in an email dated October 18, 2011. Marie was short for Miracle, Tigerlily's birth name. Okay, don't say anything to Mary or her mother about it. In another email, okay, dated on October 5th, 2011, Gary Moss referred to Tigerlily's spending habits. I'm going to have the IRA beneficiary to be Tigerlily's grandmother, followed by you and Tigerlily's mum, because if I included Mary, we could not control the distribution and she'd probably blow it in that afternoon as per her record. Remember, Mary is Tigerlily before she changed her name, okay? In November of 2017, Gary Moss wrote an email to his son Tucker in which he mentions the disaster of my daughter managing my rentals, which obviously would be Tigerlily's mother, okay? Also continues by saying it certainly seems as though Tigerlily's grandfather has little to no faith in her or her mother's ability to manage money and or assets. Meanwhile, Tiger appears to be a business school graduate who works in the financial/insurance industry based on his LinkedIn profile. Okay, Tigerlily's grandmother passed away in November of 2022. That was less than 2 months after Tucker's response was filed. In an order closing temporary guardianship of the estate and discharging temporary guardian was filed February 8, 2024. Tigerlily mentions a criminal investigation into her uncle. I I have not been able to find any evidence of criminal case being filed. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. And these are the things, like I said before, you know, that Tigerlily, like I said before, Tigerlily says things in ways that favors herself and nothing else but that. But hey, to be honest with you, shout out to Starcast for this, you know what I mean? Because obviously it gives us a better understanding of who exactly Tigerlily is. And yeah, that's just that. You guys let me know what you're thinking down below in the comment section. I will leave the link in the description if you want to check out the full thing for yourselves to get a bit more information. But that is the basis of obviously what was needed to be known from my end. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.